the chairs for you. Take the mask off. It'll be clearer.
Yes, I agree. Let me know then when you're ready to start. You're ready now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We, first of all, want to express our love and care for the Dulniak family who are gathered here, and to the Dulniak family and friends who are watching on YouTube or online. And one of the things that would be very helpful is if you're watching online, there is a live chat box there. It would be very helpful if you would place your memories of Nancy right there in that live chat box so it can be added, in essence, to our service today and memories in the future. My name is Dan Wolf. I'm a chaplain with Vitas Healthcare and have known Nancy and Dennis for several years right now. And of course, we met at Arden Court because of the disease that Nancy was suffering. We're going to begin with a prayer that highlights that and gives comfort and reassurance. Gentle Saint Diphnah, patron of those with illnesses affecting the mind, be my intercessor to Jesus, the divine physician. In the face of loss of memory and control, increase my confidence in God's providence. In the midst of confusion and isolation, remind me of God's enduring peace and presence. Obtain for me courage and strength to accept these trials from the loving hand of God with patience. He knows what is best for the salvation of my soul. I offer this illness to God for his glory and the salvation of souls, especially my own. Amen. And then turning into the Word of God, in the Old Testament writer, the book of Job, and when we think about afflictions, I think Job is the name that we think of if we are acquainted at all with Scripture. And Job said this, "Oh, that my words were written. Oh, that they were inscribed in a book, that they were engraved on a rock with an iron pen and lead forever. For I know that my Redeemer lives, and he shall stand at the last on the earth. And after my skin is destroyed, this I know, that in my flesh I shall see God, whom I shall see for myself, and my eyes shall behold and not another. How my heart yearns within me." This afternoon, as we meet together, we're going to hear from Nancy's family. We're going to begin with Memories of My Mom by her son, Craig.
Thanks to everybody who's joining us today in person and online. We appreciate your love and support. Thank you, Dad, and for everybody else who's helped put this ceremony together. We truly appreciate it. Nancy Jane Downey was born on July 11th, 1951, to Robert and Charlotte Downey in Granville, a small town in upstate New York near the Vermont border, where she was raised. The last of 4 girls, as a baby, she was the apple of everyone's eye. She grew up with a close-knit set of friends with whom she kept in touch throughout her life, and somehow she was able to do it without Facebook. After school, she would frequently go to Scotty's, the neighborhood drugstore, for chocolate malts with her friends. The reason most of us are here today is to remember my mom is because she saw my dad, Dennis, and just knew. For her, at least, it was that love at first sight. I want to share a story that she wrote in 2016 about that fateful day. Once in my life, I met the man who I would wed and make a family with. It was the summer of 1969. My mother and I drove all the way from Granville to SUNY Fredonia in the far western part of the state. When we arrived on campus for freshman orientation, we were directed to the theater. Soon after being seated, I saw these kids, 2 boys and 1 girl, playing what looked to me like musical chairs. After watching a while, I said to my mom, "See that guy with the glasses? I think he's kind of cute." That evening, all of the students had to meet with their counselors in order to get their schedules for the fall semester. While I was waiting outside my counselor's office, I was surprised to see the cute guy stopping directly across the hall from me. I immediately said, "Hi, Dennis." He looked at me up and down, looking for my name tag. I had hidden it to see if he had noticed me during the afternoon. Apparently not, so I had to tell him my name. Shortly after that, we each went in to see our counselors. Well, we met up again as we both left our counselors at the same time. It was then that Dennis asked me if I wanted to take a walk, and I said, "Sure." We walked around the campus, ending back at the Rockefeller Arts Center, and had our first kiss overlooking the woods, and then returned to the dorm, only to be locked out and late for a mandatory dorm meeting. Needless to say, when let in, we got some serious oohs from our freshman buddies. When we met the next morning, Dennis asked me for a date. I asked my mom, and she approved. We had our first date at Niagara Falls, when all the water was diverted from the American to the Horseshoe Falls, a date that sealed our fateful Fredonia meeting and lifelong union. We married after we both finished school at Fredonia and tied the knot in Dayton, Ohio. We proudly have 2 sons, Mark and Craig, born in Mosman, Montana. We have stayed together ever since. That was Mom. Loving and committed wife and mother, a little mischievous, and a touch of humor at the right time. Mom wasn't just present in my life. She seemed to thrive by being present. If she ever tired of any of it, I never heard it. Between me and Mark, with countless soccer games, piano recitals, and theater performances, not to mention the practices, lessons, and rehearsals, there could have been a lot to be tired of. But she was always there, cheering us on with a proud smile or giving a standing ovation when the performance justified it. In conversation with her friends and family, Mark and I were frequent topics. Our cousin Amanda recently relayed to us how much she enjoyed spending time with Mom, and how proudly Mom would talk about whatever Mark and I were doing. Mom loved thrills. Growing up, our family vacations often included a trip to an amusement park. Kings Island, Carowinds, Six Flags. If one was close to our destination, we would go. Or maybe we planned to vacation where there were theme parks. To this day, I'm still not really sure which it was. I used to think it was because Mark and I would want to go, but now I know that Mom was just as likely to be a strong advocate for these outings as well. So it's only fitting that Mom and Dad ended up in Oviedo, close to so many theme parks. Each year, they bought season passes to either Disney World or Universal. During their life here, Mom and Dad frequently had dates at a theme park, sometimes going in the afternoon, only to ride a couple of roller coasters before having dinner together at one of the park's nicer restaurants. They would also look forward to visits from Mark or me so that they would have another excuse to go. As a kid, I was always too short to ride the big kid rides, the roller coasters with loops and corkscrews, the devil's den that spins you around and around using centrifugal force while the floor drops beneath you, or pretty much anything that had a minimum height requirement. Although I couldn't go on those rides, Mom would ride the carnival swings, the teacups, or the tilt-a-whirl with me time after time, even after Mark and my dad had tired of them. She might have rather ridden the newest roller coasters that offered more excitement. But she spent time with me. Both of us having fun on the rides that we could enjoy together. Finally, around the time that I was out of middle school, I was tall enough to ride anything in the park, and Mom and I would plot our days to ride the most exciting coasters first. During my last visit with Mom, Dad took me, my wife Julia, our son William, and Mom on the Polar Express, an hour-long train ride from Central Florida to the North Pole and back. For those who know the story of the Polar Express or the movie, hot chocolate is featured prominently. Well, hot chocolate was served on our trip too. Mom and William both housed their 8-ounce cup of hot chocolate in a matter of seconds. Mom was able to sneakily get a second one somehow. I think it may have actually been Dad's that she stole. She loved chocolate, a love that she has passed on to my son William. She loved spending time with friends, but didn't need to be the center of attention, which was good for both her and my dad. In a room full of people, she would often sit and take in the conversation, contributing occasionally, but not needing to be the leader. I'm pretty sure that's one of the traits that I picked up from her. Mom loved being around books. She was always reading a different book and collecting more to read later, so it was fitting that she chose to become a librarian. She was known throughout her career as someone who was always willing to help students, faculty, and staff. I remember one time that she described having to explain to a grown man how to read a ruler. In her recounting of the story, I could tell her surprise at the question, not quite sure whether it was a prank or not, but she took it seriously. She got out a ruler and described to him in an earnest and respectful way how to measure using a ruler. Because that is who Mom was, always willing to thoroughly answer a question and to help. All this to say, the greatest thing about Mom is that she knew how to love. She knew the appropriate times to be stern, when to be supportive, when to listen, or when to give just one of the best hugs you could ever get.
Excellent memories. heartfelt memories. Now we're going to listen to a musical piece entitled Happy Together. All righty. Good memories there. Our next heartfelt tribute will be by Olivia, daughter-in-law, and sharing her memories.
So I met Nancy about 20 years ago, and it was your typical awkward meet the parents, and I can imagine she thought that Mark had lost his mind probably 20 times before the check even arrived. I'm pretty sure she had that thought in the years that followed. But somewhere along the way, something amazing happened. I'm disappointed that I can't pinpoint the exact moment that things changed. Maybe it was by the pool at her house chatting about our favorite books, or sitting by the fire at my house on Christmas Eve sipping eggnog and listening to Christmas music. But it happened. There was a shift. Nancy was no longer just my mother-in-law. She became my friend. She became a true second mother to me. And that's when this other side of Nancy came out. And she was snarky, and she was sarcastic, and just hilarious. I cannot begin to count the number of times when Mark and Dennis would go run errands and she and I would just sit and talk about everything and nothing. If Dennis and Mark knew the trash that we talked about them, it's a good thing I can keep a secret. Nancy shared stories with me about her life when she and Dennis first married, and then when she discovered she was pregnant with first Mark and then Craig. Well, there is no doubt Nancy loved her boys fiercely. She never hid her desire to have a daughter. The day that she told me I had fulfilled that wish for her still causes an ache in my chest. I am honored that I could be that for her. I will never forget our dance parties in the kitchen with oldies music blaring through the speakers. I will never forget our pedicure dates and sneaking sweets when Dennis wasn't looking. I will never forget her infectious laugh. I will never forget how even in the end, when she didn't remember my name, how her face would light up with a beautiful smile because she knew I was important to her. I will never forget my friend. Your time on this earth is over, but our love for you will last in eternity. This is not goodbye. It's just a blink of time until we see you again.
Thank you for that beautiful tribute. And now Mark is going to come, son, and share some passages of her sisters and his own memories of Mom's favorite things.
Because of the times we're living in, Mom's sisters were unable to be here today. Before I share my thoughts, I want to share some words provided by her sisters, Peg and Pam. Mom had a very special bond with all of her sisters, even though she was the baby of the bunch. Twins Peg and Pat and her closest sister in age, Pam. Her eldest sister, Peg, shared this message. Nancy was my baby sister, and I always thought of her that way, and I still do. She was my favorite. She was too young to fight with, and I too old for her to fight, so we were free to just love each other. Nancy always called me her ging. I don't know what ging meant, and actually I asked Nancy about it when she was older, and she didn't either. But still, it's what she called me ever since she was little. And because Nancy was my baby sister, I stayed her ging. I do know what it means to be Nancy's big sister, her ging. It means I have a big hole in my heart. Without my baby sister in this world, I have a pain in my chest and tears in my eyes. I was grounded by her unconditional love and knowing that she would always be there for me to love and talk to and visit at any time. For me as an adult and her so much younger, she was like having a child and a best friend all in one. The injustice of her leaving the earth before any of her sisters, especially me, rankles. Yet all that love she gave over the years and many great memories of our visits back and forth sustain me now. As does the lovely family she created. She brought Dennis, Mark, and Craig and their families into my life. May they all be blessed with their memories of Nancy as I am with mine. Even though the distance from us to her sisters growing up prevented frequent trips for visits that never stopped her from keeping in touch with them. There were a few Christmases that we spent in Granville, where she was able to spend time with her mom and dad as well as her sisters. Her sister Pam, who she was closest in age to, shared some of those same memories. These are Pam's words. Nancy and I were very close when we were kids, as we were the youngest. We shared playing games like marbles in the house, and outdoors we roller skated or rode our two-wheelers. I was so jealous because Nancy got a brand new bike from the store. The rest of us girls had secondhand bikes. When we were older, we shared a bedroom and had many days and nights of playing make-believe, like there were alligators on the bedroom floor, and we had to get from one bed to another without getting eaten. Obviously, we both survived, so that when Nancy was in high school, I was in my last couple years of college, and our mother decided that I should be Nancy's guardian and decide if it was okay for her to go somewhere and with whom. When Nancy went to college in Fredonia, I was just down the road from her at my first teaching job. We rode back and forth together from Fredonia to Granville and back again for vacations. Nancy became my maid of honor when she was still at Fredonia. When we moved to different parts of the country, we still kept in touch and tried to see each other for Christmases if we were ever close enough to Granville to celebrate with our mom and dad at our house in Granville, where memories abounded. Although in more recent years we didn't see each other often, the closeness and the love we had for each other never wavered. Nancy, I will be seeing you in my memories forever. Love you. Pam. Now I want to share a few things about my mom. Mom's favorite things list is lengthy because she loved life and wanted to share her loves with other people. Her husband, her parents, her sisters, her sons, Macintosh apples, chocolate, ice cream, fudge, Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy, anything on HGTV, red earrings, owls, her family, her grandsons, and the list can go on. But I will focus on a few several big favorite things. Christmas time seemed to be one of her favorite times of year. The Sound of Music came on TV, which she watched every year. Ice skating and ice dancing competitions would rule the living room. The joy of driving around on Christmas Eve to view the lights and decorations. Every Christmas felt special. As a young kid, I looked forward to presents, but as I grew older, I realized that time spent together was more important. Christmases continued to be a time to get together and make precious memories. Mom shared that same sentiment, as I realize now. She loved to see everyone's faces light up and open with the opening of each present. She gladly welcomed thank you hugs and kisses, and she laughed at the gag gifts. She loved her pool time, floating in the sun, reading her books. Craig and I would bother her to judge our dives and continue on with, "Mom, how was that? Were my legs straight? How big was my splash? Is that a 10? Was that perfect 10, Mom?" She loved her sons and was so proud of us from all the sports, theater productions, and friends' sleepovers. She was always willing to be supportive. I remember after each show at the Roxy, we'd walk out to meet her, and she'd have the biggest grin on her face every time. People would compliment her boys for a job well done, which made her smile even broader. Mom was a very good listener. I always felt I could confide in her or seek support, which she freely provided. Growing up, bedtime always seemed to allow me to open up and talk about my days with her. In elementary school, she'd linger in the doorway as I'd stop her from leaving with a, "Mom?" She'd wait patiently until I was able to start speaking. She would never get annoyed for however long it took me to start speaking. Rather, she'd slowly walk into my room and sit at the edge of the bed, and we'd chat for however long I wanted. She'd always give me a kiss goodnight. The night before high school, she sat on the edge of my bed, confided in me that she was as anxious about the next 4 years as I was. Knowing that she felt the same eased my fears of the unknown. She had a strong ability to make your feelings be okay. Along with that ability came gracious hugs. She always gave the best hello and goodbye hugs that lingered, with a firm squeeze and a back scratch to go along. My mom was fun, caring, adventurous, loved to laugh, read, sing, and dance. She loved to travel, loved to visit her family. It felt like every time we talked on the phone, the question came up of, "When will I see you again?" She loved her grandsons immensely and always tried to find a way to be at their birthday parties. She wanted to share in those special moments. She loved miniature golf, ping pong, roller coasters, giant swings, and even had the pleasure to partake in a hot air balloon ride, one of her bucket lists. One of our last times visiting Universal Studios, I recall riding the Hulk almost a dozen times just before the park closed. Without the crowds, we could hop off and right back on. We would race from the exit back to the entrance to try to get one more ride in before the workers shut it down. She was always about getting the most out of each experience, not just roller coasters. One more cookie, one more piece of chocolate, but that one more stopped when it came to vegetables. Mom always wanted a girl, but instead she had 2 boys. When she first met Olivia in Atlanta in 2001, Olivia and Mom shared a mother and daughter bond, which seemed to click from that first day. They loved listening to oldies and dancing around the kitchen, getting their nails done and gossiping with each other about their husbands driving them crazy. Mom always looked to have a good time. Many friends have shared that they would miss her smile and laughter. From house parties to walking with her neighbors and laughing as they got drenched in the rain, she took life at face value and lived it to the fullest. I cherish the ride we took in my convertible with the top down, wind blowing through our hair. It was a bit chilly outside, but we didn't care. Smiles on both our faces. She had a passion for reading, which she turned into a career as a librarian. She loved helping people and even made a neighborhood friend by reaching out to her when she looked lost wandering around the library. She was caring in that way, taking care of my road rashes and boo-boos growing up. She would tell the story of how she was known as Nurse Nancy in her neighborhood because of her willingness to help and care for people. She had a very intense side, too. Her intense passion shined through basketball and football games, where she was just as loud as that embarrassing guy 2 rows down yelling at the refs. I got that from her. Just as intense, in a different way, was her love for owls. She collected earrings, necklaces, t-shirts, photos, knickknacks, anything with an owl on it, she loved. I drew her several charcoal drawings of owls that still hang at home today. She would show me other photos and ask, "Would you draw this for me?" She loved chocolate. Oh boy, did she love chocolate. And ice cream. And if there was a fudge or ice cream shop in town we visited, Mom made sure we stopped to get some. I've shared many of Mom's favorite things, and I feel I could never do them all justice. Each one of her favorite things instills a memory that I will never forget. But I think that her very favorite thing would be to know how much impact she had on people and how much she was loved. Summer rainstorms and raindrops on windows, time with the fam and white Christmas snows, fast roller coasters, a grandson who sings. These are a few of her favorite things. Ice skating on TV, Montana sky views, reading a book or eating chocolate chews, air balloon rides and storytelling. These are a few of my mom's favorite things. When there's boo-boos, when there's bee stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply think of Mom's favorite things. Then I don't feel so bad.
All righty. And now Dennis is going to come and share with us a eulogy that he's written regarding Nancy.
Before I start the eulogy, I should probably talk a little bit about what you just saw on the screen. That was from a dementia-friendly cruise that we got to take, her last one before she entered Arden Courts, and certainly very, very memorable indeed. So my eulogy is entitled, A Life Well Lived. How can I sum up our marriage of 47 and a half years? Chock full of so many memories, love, pain shared, countless times and moments that as I now look back, took so many for granted. Nancy was the love of my life. She truly helped develop me who I am today. and our journey together certainly was not always easy. We are most proud of our sons Mark and Craig. Welcome their wives, Olivia and Julia, who are crafting their own memories with our precious grandsons, Blaine and William. As you heard in Nancy's own words, our lives started together over 51 years ago and grew from our first date at Niagara Falls and developed into our shared passion to help each other achieve our successes, our secret for a wonderful marriage. We shared so many dreams, career paths, family gatherings, entertainment opportunities, travels by car, bus, plane, train, and those amazing cruises that became a highlight after Nancy's diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's over 7 years ago. Nancy was certainly a woman with so many fond labels: daughter, sister, wife, mother, friend, librarian, and the one she most desired, Nana. My sons and I are proud to continue her legacy as a lifelong librarian, book lover, and as a cataloger where she always had first access to her favorite authors, Sue Grafton and Janet Ivanovich. She always had a stack of books beside her chair and bedside, talking with friends and family about their latest book, seeking out new authors and stories. And now we honor her literary advocacy through the creation of Nana's Books Foundation, a nonprofit organization that will send grade-appropriate books and resources on Alzheimer's and dementia to students and libraries of select Title I schools. Our life has certainly been enriched living and working in 6 states, making wonderful friends, watching our sons grow up, experience their talents as they performed in over 30 community plays at the Roxy Theater in Clarksville, graduated from their Tennessee high school and then colleges and universities. While Mark and Craig have shared some of their own mom highlights, here are some of mine. Our wedding at the University of Dayton St. Mary Chapel, June 2nd, 1973, with our families present and a few close friends. The birth of our sons, Mark and Craig, in Bozeman, Montana, and our love for watching sports by taking Mark in his baby carrier to his first basketball game in the snow while he was just a week old. Lasting friendships in Bozeman also had us carrying Mark to our Friday afternoon clubs, even placing him under the pool table while the adults enjoyed our beverages, and collegiality. Know where my boys got their start for enjoying beer and friends? Experiencing 2 total eclipses with the Grosses, dear friends in Montana, and our memorable family ski trip to Big Sky, taking the boys and their families to their birthplace, arriving on Christmas Eve, experiencing our outdoor hot tub in our ski-in, ski-out log cabin, that pure white powder, that fabulous skiing, and of course, Lone Mountain. Our marriage encounter at Bridger Mountain, where we further cemented our loving commitment to each other and her calling to become Catholic. Nancy's love for owls came from a fascination of their intensely focused eyes and inherent wisdom. She loved my high school graduation owl sitting on a book that led to quite an owl collection. In fact, she's wearing one now. Our family Christmases were always full of love, presents under the tree, time together, and photos that captured those fond memories. Our boys' weddings. Knowing how important sharing love and your truly beloved makes life worth living. Then the birth of our grandsons and her most treasured name, Nana. Family remained important and prioritized in many of our vacations, and even though we lived far from any relatives, Nancy often strived to return to her Granville home and visit her parents, reconnect with her sisters, Peg, Pat, and Pam, nieces, nephews, and high school friends, always making more fond memories. Nancy loved to travel, and after her diagnosis in our immediate retirements, we expanded our adventures, experienced a myriad of cruises and flights to the Caribbean, Panama Canal, 2 Rose Parades, 6 Final Fours, Alaska, Hawaii, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Europe, Israel, Canada, by bus and train, and exploring the USA by car, plane, and riverboat. And oh, how we enjoyed driving to Key West in search of the best key lime pie. Stopping along the way, sampling, critiquing, comparing, and then sharing our adventures on Facebook. So many fond memories captured in personalized picture books that Nancy proudly shared upon our return from our latest trip. Together, we learned much about dementia resources to fight back against Alzheimer's, like the Brain Fitness Academy, which Nancy attended for 4 years, that provided amazing stimulation, exercises, and homework to keep her brain active. Among the notes she wrote were things that make me happy. These included coming to Brain Fitness, playing with my new dog Alfie, soft music that I'm familiar with, ice cream, swimming, and spending time with my husband, with a smiley face drawn next to it. And of course, she checkmarked ice cream as her most favorite. She also wrote, I have learned that, quote, life is not easy, but the days may still be wonderful. We signed on as charter members of the Central Florida Community Arts Musical Minds Choir, where weekly we enjoyed singing, dancing, and meeting wonderful volunteers, 4 of which were featured on the Happy Together rendition, our signature anthem. Together, our lives weaved a patchwork of love, support, kindness, joy, happiness, celebration, a lifelong commitment to each other that never faded. And as care partner, where my love for her actually grew in our later years. As advocates against Alzheimer's, Nancy engaged in numerous drug trials to advance the science. Lastly, participating in the brain bank that will provide our family with a definitive diagnosis of her dementia and further research on this dreadfully terminal disease that currently has no cure or treatment to stop or reverse its progression. These actions and our Alzheimer's Walk for a Cure heightened our family's attention to make a difference. Her legacy and advocacy will now be carried on by me and my sons. I am very grateful for Arden Courts of Winter Springs, where her room was filled with her cherished family blanket and pictures, countless greeting cards, dolls like she gave her mother, who also died from Alzheimer's, and stuffed animals that brought her joy and comfort, all staffed by compassionate personnel trained and dedicated to meet her needs. We were members of a community who understood the difficult challenges of its long journey. As Nancy's prime care partner, my strong support team included many resources, especially 3 friends with me today. Dan Wolf, my Vitas Hospice chaplain and support group facilitator over the last 6 years. Tony Gittles, a very dedicated certified caregiver consultant, friend, and Nancy's dance partner. And my neighbor, Jim McBrayer, with whom we have developed a deep bond in caring for our wives who now sing and dance in heaven. Also here is my sister-in-law, Kay Dulniak. Thank you also goes out to those who may be watching with us. Your prayers have definitely helped each step of the way, especially these last few months. As many of you know and heard today, Nancy always loved her ice cream. And even throughout the COVID lockout, I kept delivering her 2 scoops of Culver's Flavor of the Day frozen custard to Arden Courts, a definite family trait she has passed on to her sons and grandsons. Even in her final weeks under skilled nursing, I'm grateful for the access to her bedside and brought her her favorite chocolate frozen custard, welcoming the opportunity to feed her every visit. I treasure the many stories that you have already shared, and I'm sure more to come. Nancy faced this disease as she lived life, full of love, hope, joy, and happiness. Life is a gift, said Tony Bennett, the icon who recently shared his Alzheimer's story. Nancy, I love you. I'll miss your smile, your beautiful eyes, your true love for me, and always cherish the life we lived well. You remain in my heart and among those in your life you've already touched, and in the future hands of those reading the books that Nana delivered.
To you as a family, I want to say thank you for sharing your stories. They're very inspiring. They speak of the genuine love your wife, your mom, your grandmother, your sister had for each of you, friends, for the love that she had for you. And they speak of your love for her. And though she's not physically present with us now, the memories that you have, that you've shared today, the videos, the things that will be on Facebook, these will continue on with you. You will not forget her. She will be with you. And there will be many times when you have a decision to make or where you're feeling alone, where you will hear her speak to you and kind of give you some advice, just as she did in the past, as to what to do and to comfort your heart. And you know, as we, as believers in Jesus Christ, all believe, this isn't all there is. Nancy's already with Jesus and loved ones that have gone on before in heaven. She will be there when that time comes that God calls each of us individually home to heaven. And so the words of the Apostle Paul to the people who lived in the city of Ephesus are very important for us today. Ephesians 5:8-14 says this, "Brothers and sisters, you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord. Live as children of the light, for light produces every kind of goodness and righteousness and truth. Try to learn what is pleasing to the Lord. Take no part in the fruitless works of darkness. Rather expose them, for it is shameful to even mention the things done by them in secret." The Apostle Paul encourages us each to live in the light that we've received. as a husband, as sons, as a daughter-in-law, as grandchildren, family, and friends. You've received light from God, but you've also received light from Nancy. She has shown a light into your life, a light of love, a light of caring, a light of memories. Those will continue to live with you. It's a legacy for each of you to live out in the years that lie ahead. I'm going to lead us in prayer right now. Shall we bow in prayer? We come to you in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Thankful that you have given us relationships with each other. As Dennis shared his relationship with Nancy, and Craig and Mark and Olivia have shared their relationship with Nancy, and others are doing so online. We are thankful that we can know each other, that we can contribute to each other's lives. We're thankful for spouses and parents that we can contribute to the generations coming after us, and we recognize the tremendous responsibility, but also the great privilege that we have to be there for our family and for each other. We thank you for that as friends as well. I thank you for bringing Dennis into my life and Nancy, and so many people that you've brought into my life along the years, for the contributions that they've made to me, and hopefully that I've been able to make to them. Lord, today we need your comfort, and we need your strength, and the assurance that you are walking with us one day at a time. Because adjusting to a loss of a wife, a mom, a grandmother, a friend, is a very difficult one. And there will be numerous times in the future where each one here and those online will hear a song or see a picture or smell a fragrance or see chocolate ice cream and be reminded of Nancy. And a tear will come to their eyes. And for at least moments, a sense that this feels like it just happened all over again. In those moments, reassure them that you're with them, that she is with you. And if she is with you and you are with us, then we're still together. And we're only looking forward to that time when there will be nothing that will separate us from each other. And we're looking for that day when there will be no more Alzheimer's or dementia or heart attacks or strokes or cancer or things or COVID-19 that separate us here on earth. Because when we get to your home in heaven, none of those things will be there. Instead, we will have bodies and minds that are made to live forever and enjoy far more beauty than we've ever been able to experience here on earth. And the favorite things that we've had here on earth will be nothing to the favorite things that we will have in heaven. And the chocolate ice cream that will be up there will be even far more delicious than Culver's. But Lord, you know who we are. You know our weaknesses. You know our sadness. But we thank you that you are here to provide us with comfort and reassurance. And so I pray that you'd be with Dennis and Nancy's entire family and surround them with your comfort and care and reassurance, day by day, moment by moment, today, this week, this month, this year, and in all the years that lie ahead. Thank you for the privilege that we have of providing support to each other, and may all of us as friends remember that Dennis and his family will need our support and our encouragement and our comfort in the days that lie ahead. We ask all these things in the name of the Father and the Son and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Nancy's rich heritage is Irish, Scotch, and Welsh, which leads us to a very well-known prayer of hope and blessing for our future life. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rains fall soft upon your fields. Until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hands. God bless you.
Thank you all for sharing.